signaling their intention to seek the GOP nomination. A new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows how potential GOP candidates might stack up. Mitt Romney comes out on top, followed by Mike Huckabee, Sarah Palin, and then Newt Gingrich. I'm joined now by David Goodfriend, a Democratic strategist and former Clinton White House staffer, and Princella Smith, a Republican strategist and founder of ChooseYourChairman.com. Guys, good to have you with me. Let's start with the president's decision to run his re-election campaign out of Chicago. It's the first time in recent history for a re-election campaign to be run off the campus, so to speak. So, David, is this a smart move for the White House to do that? They're saying they don't want to duplicate White House duties.
Absolutely, it's a smart move, and it's not just because of the reason that the White House cites. It's also because what better place to understand what Middle America cares about than Middle America? When you have staff people living, working in Chicago, a great city, even though I'm a Packers fan and I'm from Wisconsin, I'll say it on air.
Your tongue.
Chicago's a great city, and there's a real advantage in having a certain number of strategists, staff, key personnel outside of the bubble, outside of the White House and outside of Washington.
But, I mean, it is Chicago. I mean, that is the home turf of Obama. It's not like you're saying you're putting them really in the heartland of the country like Lincoln, Nebraska. I mean, this is, the #3 city in the world, or, in the country. But, Princella, what's your take? Do you think that this is the right way to go, to take them out of D.C., have them focus specifically on the re-election campaign?
Well, one of the things that catapulted President Obama into the spotlight and made him such a skyrocketing star on the left is that he painted himself as an outsider. So he's going to have a very, very difficult task of still kind of painting himself as, hey, I'm the outside fighter guy that's coming in and trying to take over and clean up Washington. So, yeah, I think it was probably a good move for him. We'll see what happens in November of 2012.
Not a surprise to anybody that he was going to go for this. So let's move on to other potential candidates. A short clip I want to show both of you from last night's Kudlow report on CNBC. Take a listen to this. We'll talk on the other side.
I will take a look at 2012. It's really a question of, can I play a useful role? Would I have a chance of getting the nomination? Those are things that I'll have to evaluate, as the year goes along.
But the door is open. That's what I'm hearing from you tonight.
Sir. Absolutely, Larry.
Princella, I'll start with you. Do you think Giuliani in or out?
I think he's out, and I think one of the things that all these several polls are trying to figure out, who's going to be the GOP nominee. Really, these polls honestly mean absolutely nothing right now, as you know. If you remember, about this time, the last cycle, Giuliani was in the lead, and then he ended up not winning a single primary contest. I think what you need to watch is people's second choices. It's fascinating. The second choice to Palin is Huckabee, and the second choice to Huckabee is Palin, and so I think that you'll see a resurgence of social issues come back. This weekend you'll see how many thousands of people across the country are going to march for life, for abortion. Abortion activists took a big role in the RNC chairman's race this year. So I think what we really need to watch is not so much who's in the spotlight right now, but who are in the second and third places, as the conservatives really haven't made their minds up.
And David, I can't bring up who's going to go for the GOP without discussing Sarah Palin and her presidential desires. She's already putting out her feelers in Iowa, which is certainly very pivotal and important to running a presidential campaign. In December, though, the NBC poll, Wall Street Journal poll, showed President Obama besting her by 20 points. So can Sarah Palin really be a viable candidate in 2012? Does she have the juice to bring it?
Well, I think she's somebody who we should never underestimate, but as my Republican colleague just pointed out, we're facing a very interesting period now in the Republican Party. There's going to be a lot of soul searching. There's going to be some division. You're going to have people who support Sarah Palin, people from the far right, the Tea Partiers, the social conservatives, and then you're going to have what I will call the corporate Republicans, people who believe in supporting big business and entrenched interests. There's a lot of tension that's been buried so far between those two factions of the Republican Party. It's going to come out in full flower in the months ahead as the Republicans try to figure out who's going to be their nominee, who's going to be their torchbearer. It'll be the most interesting thing in American politics over the next year, I predict.
Yeah, we're just getting out of the midterms, all that hubbub dying down, and now we've got to ramp up to this. So everybody take a breath, and we'll keep on going and see what happens. Princella, David, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.